Good evening, and welcome to Think About It Thursday. I'm glad to see all of you that are here as you come online. We're grateful that you decided to take 15 minutes um, out of your day just to hear about thinking about it on Thursday. So this month, the month of May, we've been focusing on what it takes to move forward after you've been through a life crisis. And so this is just a continuation of that. And so the first week, we said that to move forward, you have to first pick up the pieces. And what we were saying there was that when you've been through a life crisis, your world has been shattered typically, and your life is you've got pieces all around. So so yeah. So um, so you should be able to pick up the pieces that you have, and those pieces that you pick up should only be the pieces that you need. So we talked about that on the first Monday of this month, and then the second Monday we said that you had to be equipped to move forward. And what we were saying there is, even though you've picked up the pieces that you need, that you also need some additional pieces. And so you need to decide what things you need to pick up to move forward, in addition to the things that you're going to carry forward the from the past. And so now we come to this point where you have the pieces that you need to move forward, and you've picked up the things that will equip you to move forward. So now the thing is that what you need to do now is to move forward, you have to have vision. And vision is very important because you have to see it in your mind's eye. You have to envision in your mind's eye a better version of yourself and what that better version will be doing in the future. So you have to get a vision in your mind of what that is. And to do that, to help you out with some of that, it should be enlightened by your values. Whatever you think is important, well, those are the things that should be guiding what your vision is for the future. You should be doing those things that you value, that you think are important. And most importantly, the things that you do, they should be aligned with God's will and what he has in store for you. So you should be praying about it. You should be meditating on it to figure out what that vision should look like. And you have to look beyond where you are now. You have to really be imaginative. You have to be creative, because you can look around and there's a quote in my book that I think says is a good captures most of what I'm thinking about here. And it says that if all that we see are the scattered pieces of what was, then the story of what is yet to be will never be told. So you can't just look at the pieces as this is what was and focus on that. However, however, you're able to envision the pieces of what they are now freed to be, then the story of what is yet to be will stand among the greatest ever told. So you need to envision what those freed pieces that you have that came from your life crisis, how they can be put together and used for what you're going to do in the future. Those along with the things that you've picked up in addition to that. So you've been equipped. You have all the things that you need to do that. And what you envision is in your mind's eye. It's not what is there, because you're still going to face trouble. You're still going to face challenges, but that's not what we focus on. What we want to focus on is where we're trying to go, and realize that that is a better future for you. And there are greater things that you will be able to accomplish as you keep your eye on the prize, as they say. So, one of the scriptures that I love about this is in Corinthians, and it says, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but what is unseen. So don't focus on the challenges and the troubles that you're having now. Those are momentary. And realize that those are all working for your good, for you to achieve an eternal glory that's going to be much, much better than all the pain and suffering that you've gone through to get there. Beyond your imagination, it's going to be greater than that. So try to be creative, think in your mind, what does that future look like? Be specific. Think about it. A day in the life of the better you. What does that look like? When you wake up in the morning, what are you going to see? Where are you going to be? What is your environment going to look like? Who's going to be in your life? What do you have to look forward to for that day? And be as detailed as possible, because the more that you can paint that picture, the more that you'll be motivated to get there. You have to envision it in detail, not just some general, oh, I'm going to feel good and I'm going to be doing well. That's not really a vision. That's just a wish. So take the time to be specific about what it is that you envision that future to look like. And again, you should be praying about it so that it is aligned with what God has for your life. Because if it is, then that's the best thing possible. And so to do that, you have to have a relationship with God and through prayer, and he will speak to you and he will help to reveal to you some of the things that your future he has in store for you. But that's only if you align yourself with what that is, because God won't force you to do what he wants you to do. There are two sides to God's will. There is his submissive will, which gives you the right to make a choice. And then there's his sovereign will. And his sovereign will is it's going to be so because he said it's going to be so. No matter what man tries to do, his sovereign will says it's going to be this way. But in addition to that, he has a permissive will, which means he allows us to choose. So we can choose to be out of his will, and that's your choice. You can go ahead and do that. But it's better to be aligned with his will, because then you're going to fulfill your purpose that he has for you. So you want to take the time as you envision, you have that vision of what your future is. You want to check to make sure that it is aligned with what God has in store for you. So on this Thursday, I want you to think about how you can enter into God's vision for your life. And how does this vision affect your view of your career, your family, and your goals? You want to make sure that it is aligned with that. These are important areas of your life, and you would want to have God's leading in all of them. You want God everywhere in your life. You want him to be leading you where you need to go. And so as you think about it on this Thursday, think about what you envision for yourself. Think about it specifically for you. Everybody is different. No one has the same vision for their lives. We're not all just robots that go and do the same thing over and over again. We each have a specific purpose that was been designed specifically for you. So you need to be aligned with God's will with that. And yet that requires prayer and asking him, well, what is it that you have for my life? I need to look around at all these pieces that I have that I'm carrying forward and all these things that I have picked up along the way. And what do you have for my life? In my case, when I finished my going through a major crisis in my life, which was a bout with cancer, I looked around and looked at, well, what's next? Where do I want to go? And I prayed about it. And I knew that part of the reason why God had spared me and delivered me and given me my healing on this side of eternity was because he wanted to use me to be a testimony to his goodness and the miracles that he performed. So I knew that that was part of what my future was going to hold. And so as I pondered that and I thought about it, okay, God, that's what you want me to do. I'm going to be obedient to that. How do I get that story out? How do I give my testimony? And the answer came through the mouths of people that I was around. A lot of people said, after I gave my testimony at church, a lot of people said, you should write a book. And at first I didn't really receive that. I thought, no, I've never really wanted to write a book. But as I continued to get the words from others, I realized that God was talking to me through them, that I should write a book. So that was part of my vision then. I brought it into my vision. Well, I guess I'm going to write a book. And so that became what I did. And after I did that, I said, okay, well, now what? What's left for me to do now that I've written the book? And God spoke to me and said, well, just because you wrote a book doesn't mean that people are reading it. So you have to promote it. You have to get out there and still share your story. You now just have something that they can put in their hands or they can put on their iPads or their electronic things. You still need to go out and share that. So that's part of what I'm doing. And then also it was, okay, well, if I tell people that my testimony is about living through faith, then how are they going to do that? And I think that they may ask me, well, how do you do that? And I didn't feel qualified to be able to answer that. So I thought, well, if I'm going to try to help some people further, if they want to know, then I need to be qualified to give them some type of information. And so that led me to going through and receiving certification as a life coach. So now I'm a life coach. So again, I believe that that's following the path that God has for me. So you should do the same. After you've gone through your life crisis, think about what it is that you're supposed to do. And I'm pretty certain that one of the things that you're supposed to do is you're supposed to use your story to help others who are going through the same thing that you just went through. So if it was a bankruptcy, if it was a health challenge, if it was a divorce, if it was the death of a spouse, if whatever your crisis that you faced in your just got over, part of your future would be to help those who are going through the same thing because you've been there. So think about it. Think about how you can enter into God's vision for your life and how does this vision affect your view of your career, your family, and your goals. So with that, I'm going to draw this to a close. But before I do, I want to encourage you, if you're interested in getting the book and you want to have that experience of walking into a bookstore and actually going through it, if you're in the Pasadena area, the book is on sale in Vroman's at their Pasadena store on Colorado and in East Pasadena in Hastings Ranch. Also, if you're interested in knowing more about coaching or speaking engagements, if you want me to come and give my testimony, you see the scrolling there, the calendly.com. You can go there and you can book an appointment. And we'll get back with you and we'll see what we can do for you. So also, if you like what's going on here, then I would ask you please to like this and to share it with your friends if you think it would be beneficial for them. So hopefully these all are helpful things for you. And again, what we're thinking about here is to move forward from this, you have to have vision. And you should align it with what God has in store for you. So with that, I'm going to wish you a good rest of your evening, and we'll see you next Thursday on Think About It Thursday. Take care. Be blessed. Bye-bye.